welcome to Ray's Toolbox. Today I'm going to do something with these spices on the wall. This spice rack has all of my special spices in it, but it's on the wall and it's right next to the microwave, which is right above the stove, so it's kind of in the way. What I'm going to do is build a cabinet into the wall and see if we can get these spices cleaned up a little bit, get them out of the way, and not such an eyesore. First thing I'm going to do is take the towel rack down, and then the cutout that I had for this upper cabinet, I'm just going to keep that same footprint, if you will, bring it straight down. I have another set of doors just like these, so that part's going to match. That's going to work out. I have the paper towel rack down, I have the hand towel rack down, and I have my spice rack down. So basically where this cabinet is above that I made for the pot holders and cookbooks, I'm just going to bring this on down and square it off and put another set of doors there. I have a set of doors just like those. I have to stain them, of course, but I know how far down I need to come now. I need to come down roughly here for the opening. After I had my outline marked down on the wall, I used the rotary tool and a vacuum to cut out around the outside edges. It didn't come out quite in one piece like I liked, so I used the jab saw, cut it down to make it a whole lot easier to get out. I cut a couple of 2x4 blocks to put down on the bottom of it. That gives me something to screw the drywall to make it firm. It also gives me something to fasten my shelves to. Makes a nice solid base. The back of the shelves is the back of the drywall on the other side of the wall, so I didn't want it to look just plain like that. I took some white paint and put a couple coats of white paint on the back side of that drywall. I think it made a big difference, made it a lot brighter, looked better, and when the items are in the shelf, it just looks a whole lot more neater, professional. I cut a 1x6 down to fit for the bottom shelf. I wanted to have that little lip on the outside. Having my 2x4 down first made it a lot easier to fasten my bottom shelf onto. There's a lot of different methods to mount a shelf. I wanted to make sure they was all the same height for my jars, so I made some spacers to put in. I went ahead and just nailed the spacers in place because my facing plates are going to cover all this up anyway. So it was a lot easier to do this way, and it was hidden, so why not? I took my tallest jar and figured out how many shelves I could do. I could have 3 shelves and have just enough space plus a ½ inch on each shelf for my tallest jar, plus the top one had another
half inch or so. So it worked out pretty good. I made my faceplates the same width as the cabinet above that I'm trying to match. The cabinets above are stained a golden oak, so naturally that's the same color that I went with down below. My center frame piece had a slight variation in it, had a little bit darker spot, as you can tell in the picture here. But after I had it stained down, after I had the polyurethane on, it looked pretty good. It matched all right. Normally I would give 2 coats of polyurethane, but the can that I had was a little bit thicker after I had the first coat on, and it was dry. It looked just about exactly like the above cabinet, so I was pleased with it. That's the way I left it.
Okay, I'm going to put the hinges on the new door now. I measured, and there's 2 inches between the bottom of the hinge and the bottom of the door. Same thing on the top, there's 2 inches between the top of the door and the top of the hinge. So I know how to arrange the hinges on the new door. So I'm going to go put those on, and then I can put the doors up.
I made a template for where the knobs go.
I have my doors laid out. They're basically laid open from how they're going to be mounted. I have the spots marked where the knobs go. So now I'm going to put the hinges on next. If you remember, they simply go 2 inches up from the bottom of the door to the bottom of the hinge. And that's how they're going to be mounted. I'm going to line that up about the best I can. I have my hinges picked out. They look like they match the old ones. The knobs are put on. Since I redid the knobs on both sets of doors here, they match. They look a lot better. It's nice to zip screws in with the drill, but if you're like me, sometimes I have a tendency to strip them out, which I do by hand as well, but less likely to do so with this. Alright, I have self-closing hinges, so I like that part. The hinges came with some felt pads, have a little adhesive on the back. They just stick on the door. I have 2 of them, top and bottom, and that helps keep them from banging quite as loud. Always wait and put these pads on after you've got the door up, because sometimes the design doesn't line up quite where you think it would. I think this looks much better than the rack that we had hanging up here earlier, if you remember what it looks like. So now I can have all the spices on the inside here, out of sight, out of mind, more or less. And more importantly, it's a little bit safer. I don't have that hanging out over here to get caught on whenever you're using the stove or the microwave. A lot of nice storage for the spices now, plus you can close the doors and they're not going to be way out in the open. I put the towel rack back up. If you remember, I did have a paper towel holder above the drying rack. It is no longer able to go where it was. The one that we had was made to go horizontal, and I wanted to make one that went vertical. So if you're interested in how I made a paper towel holder, click the video and take a look.
Thank you for watching. I think this was a fun little project to do. Hope you have some inspiration, maybe an idea for your place. If you like the video and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Give me a thumbs up and you'll be notified the next time I have another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.